Greetings, everyone. I am Pete Pardo from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility, bringing you new album reviews all the damn time. Today, we're going to take a look at the brand new album from North Carolina's very own progressive metal sensations. This is their 11th studio album. The band is Between the Buried and Me. The Blue Nowhere is their latest release for Inside Out Records. They're now signed to Inside Out Records. Who would have thought, right? That's not what I ever expected, but, you know, Inside Out is trying to get a lot of the more, the younger, more extreme-leaning progressive metal bands, along with some of the old guard as well. So they're opening up and including a lot more bands on their roster that maybe we wouldn't have anticipated a couple of years ago, right? So let's take a look at this Digipack release. I'm not crazy about the cover. First of all, you got the name of the band in tiny, tiny letters there. Whatever. Nothing spectacular going on here. We got the booklet, which more of the same type of artwork, lyrics, no band picture, nothing, right? So, who do we have in the band nowadays? Well, some of you might recall they parted ways with their second guitar player, rhythm guitar player, Dusty Waring, not all that long ago. There's some kind of off-screen issues going on there, right? There's been some stuff happening there. We won't get into that because it's neither here nor there. But anyway, he does not appear on the album. We've got instead the remaining lineup of Tommy Rogers on lead vocals, keyboards, Paul Wagner on all guitars now. He's mainly been their lead guitar player, and Dusty was their rhythm player, but now Paul's doing everything. Dan Briggs on bass and keyboards, and Blake Richardson on drums and percussion. So this is their 11th studio album. You know, it's they've got like a covers album. They have an EP, right? So it depends on how you look at it. It could be their 13th album if you count everything here. But very, very cool stuff on this album. And this is one of those bands that, you know, I've been following not quite since the beginning. I really jumped on board with their Alaska album. And then with Colors, I was just 100% a fan. And they've continued to release one epic release after another of progressive metal. It's basically progressive extreme metal because they have elements of metalcore, death metal, progressive pop, all kind of rolled in. They even throw in some little jazzy bits and vaudevillian stuff. And I mean, Between the Buried and Me, there's nowhere that they won't go, right? There's no barricades, no nothing, but a progressive metal band with extreme metal tendencies and all sorts of other things, right? And a lot of their albums are, you know, they've got a bunch of concept albums. Most of their albums are long. They got some double albums. They got some, you know, all sorts of stuff in this catalog, but everything is always top notch. So this album is another long one. It's about, I think, like 70 minutes, and there are 10 tracks on here, many of which are fairly lengthy. So it starts off with, the first time I listened to this album, the first two times I listened to this album, I was kind of like, you know what? I don't know if I'm really digging this. And that's very odd for me with this band. This has proved to be one of those albums that did not hit me right off the bat. I really needed to spend some time with this, and it wasn't until maybe spin number 3, 4, and 5 where finally I was kind of like, all right, now I'm really getting it. Because it's complex, it's out there, there's a lot of different styles hitting you here, and it doesn't quite grab you right off the bat. And then all of a sudden, things start to really click. So for instance, the first song, Things We Tell Ourselves in the Dark. It's funky. There's funky Faith No More, extreme style licks and riffs going on here. I'm like, what is happening here? This is a Between the Buried and Me hour. This Between the Buried and Me album, it doesn't really even sound like them. There's elements of pop here, some of the vocals. It's still pretty heavy. It's one of their most eclectic songs ever, but very cool. Tommy Rogers' clean vocals here are amazing. And then the add in the extreme vocals, when he's doing extreme vocals, it's kind of like this metalcore thing. It's like screams and these guttural, kind of almost death metal growls, but not quite. They add those in quite nicely. They don't overdo it on this first track. There's tons of groove in the song. The synths are really well placed. And like I said, the mix of kind of funky licks and riffs kind of combat the more prog metal complex things that are going on. Really, really good song. Things we tell ourselves in the dark. Really good. From there, God Terror. Okay, now we get your typical Between the Buried and Me style thing. You got Tommy's screaming vocals and growls plowing through this big crushing arrangement. This one's all aggression. But there's even some weird kind of like, there's even some weird, like I was going to say like Devin Townsend type stuff going on here. But Between the Buried and Me have a history of doing weird things too. But if you like Devin Townsend's more weird, eclectic approach to prog and prog metal, you'll like some of the strangeness that's going on in this track. Very cool song. Absent Thereafter, again, classic BT Bam, insanely complex prog metal here. The riffs are enormous. The drumming is insane. And Tommy's guttural wailing is off the chain crazy. Paul's lead guitar work, breathtaking. Honestly, here we are like 3 songs in. I don't miss Dusty's guitar at all. You really don't. If you don't even think about it, you don't even realize anything. There's also some cool, funky licks that come back into the song right around the halfway point, which are really fun. So, like, all of a sudden you get this really crazy, extreme progressive metal meets metalcore, and then they throw in this little funk interlude. It's really, really cool. 10-plus minute long, really, really good song. Next up is Pause, the short little proggy, ambient, atmospheric vocal and synth piece. It's really nicely done. It's not just an interlude. Quite like it. Tommy's clean vocals on this album are incredible. Really good. Door number 3, massive juggernaut of a song. The riffs, huge. Blending of growls and clean vocals. Nice little melodic middle section with acoustic guitar. Beautiful electric guitar, soaring vocals, and then a big pummeling finale. Door number 3 is excellent. Love it. Mirador Uncoiled is this short little interlude. Hold on. Spam call on my phone. It's a little interlude. It's like classical guitar for like about, I don't know, like, I think the song itself is just under a minute. So you get this little classical guitar thing, and then all of a sudden this raging death metal finale on the last like 10 seconds of the song, which leads right into the next track, which is Psychomantium, which is brutal death metal meets metalcore meets prog metal. 11-plus minutes of out-of-control zaniness and brutality. 1 minute you have raging death metal. The next they go into some piano. Then you get some like weird Mr. Bungle style weirdness. Then some complex progressive metal. Then some pop. Then some classical. You just never know where they're going to take you next. It's just crazy stuff, but so much fun. Another great track on here. That leads into Slow Paranoia. So Between the Buried and Me take you to the circus, right? You're off to the circus. Everything under the sun gets thrown at you. Plenty of time changes, blazing passages of insane like guitar, bass, drum, keyboard runs, right? Then you get some weird carnival music. Then some symphonic prog. Tommy's mixing it up with the soaring clean vocals, screams, throws in some piano. Here's some symphonic synths. Here's some big crushing riffs. Here's some tasty lead guitar. There's like something for everybody in here. Like I said, the first couple times I listened to this album, songs like this or Psychomantium, where there's just so much going on, I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm enjoying this. But once you listen to it a couple tracks, everything segues into the next really, really well. Great track. Slow Paranoia. So good. And again, think of Slow Paranoia, right? Slow descent into paranoia. Things are going to build in intensity. It's exactly what happens here. Then we have the last 2 tracks. The Blue Nowhere is next. Gorgeous melodic song. Got acoustic guitar, you got keyboards, wonderful melodic vocals, tasty lead electric guitars. This is progressive pop at its finest, at its very best, and not something I would have expected on this album. So nice. Really, really good song. Absolutely gorgeous. And then the last track is Beautifully Human. Again, more stunning acoustic guitar work, keyboard soundscapes. That all brings you into this wonderful, soaring melodic vocal from Tommy. Got a little intricate drumming kind of supporting everything. Nice symphonic arrangement. Big sweeping finale. 2 gorgeous numbers to close out the album. No extreme vocals on the last 2 tracks at all. And really, a nice way and a very enjoyable way to close out the album. So, like I mentioned, my first couple listens to this, I didn't quite know what to think. But as the Blue Nowhere kind of sat with me and I kept playing it over and over, it really, really won me over in a big way. There's a lot going on. I won't deny it's a long album. And the blending of so many styles might be kind of maddening for some people. But if you're used to this band and you're used to them taking you down all these different avenues all the time, I think if you give this a couple listens, it will really sink in and grab you and never let go. And I love the funk and the pop elements on here. I love the symphonic elements. I love all the raging, crazy, out of control extreme metal on here. And, you know, all the standard Between the Buried and Me, prog metal, bizarro world stuff that they do. I think it's an excellent album, and it just shows that this band is not slowing down at all when it comes to creative ideas and being able to put together albums that maybe on first listen don't make a hell of a lot of sense, but then before you know it, you're like, this is amazing stuff. So yeah, I really like this a lot. 4.5 out of 5 star. Between the Buried and Me, The Blue Nowhere. Check it out. Inside Out Music, they are now. I'm going to put the link to the Bandcamp page down below. You can go listen to the entire album. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you soon here with more reviews. I am Pete Pardo. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as a post. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also down below, we got the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, our merch page, our Cameo page, and the Sea of Tranquility membership options all down below. Thanks in advance for all your support, folks. It's greatly appreciated, and we'll see you soon here with more stuff. I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching. More reviews coming. We got over the next few days, over the next week, new Green Carnation, new Michael Schenker Group, new 38 Special, new Amorphous, new Times Forgotten, Grateful Dead, Blues for Allah, 50th Anniversary Edition, new FM, Chris Slade Timeline, Jack Starr, Flame Dream, all sorts of stuff. Stay tuned for more. I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.